And it just helps so much to have good records. We plug everything into QuickBooks. Every loan we buy has its own, it's class accounting. So every loan has its own profit center, basically. So all the charges, all the income and expenses go against that individual loan. And we can run a report on that one particular loan. And then we use Mortgage Office. We use a light version called Loan Office to do all the amortization schedules and statements and coupons. And that's one of the best things we did. We were trying to use something like NoteSmith prior to that.
Okay.
And it just wasn't up for the task. If you got a handful of notes, if you got 10 notes, it might work fine. But if you got 300 notes, it's too cumbersome. So, if you're wanting to start out in this business, in the beginning, you can get by with spreadsheets and stuff. But if you ramp up and end up with a decent volume, get the right software to be able to track your notes. And we self-service a lot of our notes, probably 75% of them.
Wow. Is that just to save money or control?
I think it's a combination of both. It's a little bit cheaper, and then I think we have more control over it.
Okay.
Yeah. We have a lot of notes in our IRA account. I've got about 100 notes between my account and my wife's account in our IRAs. Okay. So all of those notes we put with a servicer, because we don't want to take the chance of getting like a prohibited transaction.
That's a key. Yeah, I do the same thing.
So all those notes, almost all of them. I mean, there's some notes that we bought real cheap and they're pretty much inactive. So we self-service those notes. They just kind of sit there in the file. They're not doing anything. But if we decide to start collection on it, then we'll move it to a servicer before we start collection.
Interesting. Yeah, that works.
So we have some questions. If Nathan, I was fixing some stuff. I apologize.
Yeah, you bet. So Cindy Coleman, she's asking about a course or a person that you can learn the seconds business from. Or you don't teach, do you?
I don't teach, and Dean's not teaching anymore either. And that course that he did is not available as far as I know. Right. So Rob Heitha does a really good job. He has some good information on his websites, if you don't mind me mentioning that.
No,
he's a good guy.
Fixed Notes, FIXNOTES, Fixed Notes. He has a great program. I'm part of his mentoring group. I pay X dollars a month to sit on a phone call once a month. And we had our call yesterday. And Rob's a young guy, probably less than 30 years old. And I've known him for 10 years, does a really good job, has a lot of experience. So I don't, Mike Rasica does a mentoring program, noteconference.com. So I like Mike, he's an awesome guy. Those are the first two that come to mind as far as, the one thing I would say is stay away from the guys that want to get you into a mentoring program and it starts at $25,000 and the platinum level goes up to $50,000.
Yeah.
Don't do it. It's just not worth it. I don't think,
I agree. Go out and buy a note, get some experience.
Get some hands.
That's better. Yeah.
Yeah. It's really going through the motion, right? It's everyone, when you go to college, right? You go here, you spend all the money for college and you get out with no money. You just came out with skills, right? And now you can make the money with the skill you learn. Same thing with buying the note. You buy that first note, you learn everything you need to do. So then maybe you lost your money, maybe you made some, maybe you broke even, but then you now have the skills to go buy notes. Yeah. We run our own mastermind too on a weekly basis. We have some really cool people just talking about high level stuff of different angles, different, positions, because everyone's different. Everyone's different mentality is awesome. I know that it for seconds, for quants out there, but I don't know of any training programs out there per se that's particular on seconds.
Yeah, specifically.
I think Rob Heitha's program covers seconds really well. And Mike is primarily a seconds guy.
Yes, Mike, yep, absolutely.
Some of the first notes I bought were from Rob.
Really?
Oh, really?
Yeah, way back when.
Was it through USMR?
I think so, back then, yeah.
Yeah. He worked with USMR for a long time. He still does, but more as a consultant.
Does he? Okay, good.
Yeah.
I bought my first true gold, Mark Gold. So that was My first purchase was through Mark Gold. She was not in the business anymore. So
Yeah.
I know Mark. Yeah. So my first seconds were through Coast Capital,
Yep.
the Madden,
yeah, DA, yep.
DA Madden, Trinity.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I don't think they're around anymore. I haven't seen them.
Yeah, no comment.
So we do have another question for you. What resources and services do you use to operate the business, and one of the most important service you use? That's a general question.
Yeah, and I think I covered that. I'm not sure if I cover that in these slides or it's the other slides I do. But we use, like I said, we use a CRM. That's something that we have 5 people in the office, and everybody can input data. If a check comes in, we log it into the history. We got a check for $318.42.
Mm-hmm.
And it shows that CRM shows the first mortgage, what the balance is, the date of last payment, when we last checked it, things like that. And then we have another box that shows our loan, our second mortgage, and what the monthly is, what the date last paid is. So we keep track of everything, and we can run reports on that as to, if we want to see the delinquent borrowers, we can run a report that'll show everyone who's more than, say, 30 days delinquent.
Mm-hmm.
So ACT is a really strong tool. Loan Office is another one.
What CRM is that? Do you care to share which one you're using?
ACT, Sage ACT. And you
okay.
can, some people use, I forget the name of the Salesforce.
Salesforce, but that's huge. I mean, that's a
big one.
That's
well,
a
ACT's
big
the same thing. ACT's the same way. I just spent $1,500 to upgrade ACT from, version 21 to version 23. But it's worth it. I mean, I couldn't live without it. And in hindsight, Mortgage Office might have done a lot of what we do in ACT, but I don't think it doesn't keep track of the opportunities and phone calls and people that want to sell notes, things like that. All that gets plugged into ACT. Mm-hmm. So that's one software. The second software is Loan Office. ACT is a CRM. You can use Salesforce, whatever.
Yep.
ACT is a CRM that is very valuable. I mean, and then Loan Office does all of our amortization schedules, statements, coupons, everything we want to do with mailing out statements to people. That all goes through Loan Office. Mm-hmm. And then QuickBooks would probably be the next one. Mm-hmm. You got to have good accounting. We have to file our taxes every year. We used to have 12 joint venture partners. Wow. Now we're down to about 4.
Yep.
And so I send out quarterly reports to them.
Yeah.
We split money, once a quarter. We take whatever's net after expenses and I'll distribute it between us and them. So Excel, we use a lot of Excel. We do a lot in QuickBooks, but that's the primary.
Yeah.
And becoming familiar with Pacer, the BKs, there's a lot to learn on BK.
So we had another question from Cindy. Where's pricing at seconds at? She's heard that they're pretty high. I've heard they're up at 55, but
I've even heard higher.
Yeah, I've heard 55, 60. Where are you seeing prices seconds right now?
I'm starting to slow down. I'm making our company smaller rather than larger. So I've been buying nothing but RPLs for the last year and a half, 2 years.
Popular, yep.
And we're shooting for a yield in the mid-teens.
Okay.
13, 14, 15%, something like that.
Yeah.
And a couple of the big pools I bought recently were in the 50% range of UPB. So 53% maybe, or 55%, 51, something like that. We have bought a couple of pools of higher quality loans where we paid like 75% of UPB. Mm-hmm. But the determining factor for me is the yield. I'm not gonna buy.
Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, the yield is really what drives it. I'm not gonna buy a loan where I'm less than, say, 85% of UPB. I mean above 85%. I don't want to be at 105% of UPB.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because if I have to foreclose on that, I can't get my money back.
Yeah. So it's
you know.
weird you say that. A lot of people are still bidding on the percentage of UPB. We've heard it at the paper source that, and they're being taught to bid on percent of UPB and ignore the interest rate, right? That yield is your driving force. That the percentage of UPB is a byproduct of your bid. Well, I'm going to bid at 12, 14, 15 yield. Okay, this is my bid. Oh, what percentage of UPB is that number versus the other way around? That's a key thing for a lot of people, is that you should be driving back in the return you want versus bid percentage and then say, oh, this is the return I get.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, my spreadsheet when I'm bidding stuff shows you what my yield is going to be.
yep.
And my target is somewhere around, say, 15%.
Yeah.
Sure.
You know, if it's a great loan in a great area, if it's down the street from my house in Orange County, California, then I might drop it down to 12% or something. You know? But if it's in, you know, Cleveland, Ohio, you know, Memphis, Tennessee, or whatever,
Sure.
I'm going to shoot for something in the mid-teens or maybe even 17%. Yeah.
Yeah.
So where do you see the market going, Gerald? What's your crystal ball prediction?
I have no idea. It doesn't affect me that much.
Uh-huh.
You know, I'm not aggressively buying right now. I just don't want to work that hard. I've worked hard for, you know, I started working in construction in 1973, I guess.
Yeah.
So I'm 68 years old now, and I'm really wanting to go. I took up golf recently.
Cool.
6 months ago, I started playing golf, and I enjoy it. I just went out and bought some new clubs yesterday.
We're trying to get one of the, you know, the Note conferences to do a golf day beforehand or something like that. It'd be a good commodity. So I'm glad to see you're relaxing a little bit. It is, how difficult is it to relax when you've done this for so many years?
I don't have a problem.
Okay.
You know, I mean, some people I know, they work because that's their only interest. That's the only thing they have going on in their life.
Hobby.
Good point.
I have a lot of other interests. You know, I like fishing, I like shooting. I just went and did some sporting clays with my brother down in Houston.
Mhm.
Fishing, bicycling. There's a lot of things that I got plenty of things that occupy my time.
Yeah, that's good.
Friends and family. I'm the oldest of 7 kids. I just went down to Louisiana and saw my almost 90-year-old mom, spent a week down there, and then went to spend a few days in Houston with my brother. And so my focus is more like friends and family.
Yeah.
And recreation. I think we've done well with the note business, and I don't have to be that aggressive right now. I'm you know, if I can get 8 or 9 or 10% on my money as opposed to 18%, I'm okay with that. You know, I'll live with that. You guys are younger than me, and you know, you're still on the upward trend. You know, you're still trying to grow your business.
Yeah.
It's interesting to say that, because we feel like we're getting older as we go on, you know, but then you say you started construction before I was born, which is kind of, you know, earth shattering, but it's great. You know, I think where you came from is a good action to realize what goes on. I did construction for 13 years. I wouldn't do it again. It wears on you. But I think that the transition to notes is so attractive. So many people like it because it is real estate without the headache of real estate.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So,
And you know, a lot of our notes have turned into real estate, like the Burbank house.
yeah.
You know, it's just, so we have, you know, a dozen or so rentals right now, all in Southern California. And that's a nice complement to the note business. You know, the rentals are fairly easy to manage for the most part. We have higher quality rentals. We don't have a lot of turnover, so we have to do some maintenance on them, you know, change a roof or whatever, but it's not a huge amount.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Gerald, I'm going to ask you to hang on for a few minutes. We're disconnected from the public. I appreciate you reaching out to us and joining us today. Do you want to give out your email address? I'm sure your website available. I'm going to ask you guys, don't ask him for assets. He's not selling, right? He is where he's at. This is retirement. But if you want to pick his brain, feel free to reach out to him. Just to chat for a few minutes. I could definitely share your email address, but do you want to give your website so everyone can see what it is?
Yeah, it's the LemoineGroup.com. So it's THE, then my last name, Lemoine, and then group, GROUP.com. My email is gerald@thelemoinegroup.com. And phone number is 714-462-8050. Just don't put me on a robocall list.
Absolutely.
But feel free to share, if you guys want to email the slides out to people,
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
If
And
you guys want, feel free to email me or shoot me a message or whatever you guys do.
yeah,
And reach out to us. Let us know.
my contact information is the last slide
Sure.
Okay.
in that presentation.
Okay.
All right.
There's no way of doing it. Okay. Well, Gerald, I'm gonna disconnect from the live feed.
Yeah.
Guys, have a great weekend. If we don't talk to you, hopefully we have some good stuff coming up. Our next event's actually on Facebook. We'll have a really good conversation. You'll see all the details coming up soon, but stay tuned. All right, guys. Have a good time. Enjoy your weekend.
You bet.
Thanks
See ya.
for the invite.